Well, good afternoon and welcome to the official uh, Rotary Passport Club of Minnesota meeting. I say official because we are now, I can't believe my phone is actually ringing at 12 noon. We are now an official charter member. Uh, Phone hasn't rang all day, then all of a sudden at noon it rings. I want to welcome everyone here and let's get started. We have a few things we want to cover today. Uh, and it starts with our welcome, and basically it is just a review of who we are and what we do here. We are a online club with the option of going to any one of our 35,000 convenient locations to be at a meeting. We are
Yeah, if anybody was actually having a meeting.
Yes, if anyone's having a meeting. We're a full Rotary membership. We meet 24/7, which means that we have live meetings, and we're going to talk about that in a little more detail later. And the meetings are recorded, so you have an opportunity at whenever it's convenient for you to attend a meeting. Now, just to let you know, with those links, they actually send me a report who actually goes to those links. So if at any point in time we want to keep attendance, which I have no intentions of doing that, we can do that. The four areas that we focus on is service, networking, leadership, and fellowship. Service is one of our big areas. We actually call it the 5 avenues of service, which includes every avenue of service you can think of. The big one is for the club. Things you actually do for the club is counted as service, and vocational things too. So the reason I mention all these things is one of the things Rotary has been trying to do over the last 2 or 3 years is keep a count of how much volunteer service we do. We've only been able to capture a small percentage of that, and when you equate it to dollars, it becomes a huge dollar value to the public. So we'd like to be able to capture that information. Networking is also one of our key components, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Leadership skills within the club, and also online courses and courses in leadership. And that's especially valuable to small companies who might not have the resources to actually develop their people. And of course, fellowship. Dues is still at 50 cents a day, a little less than 15 cents a day, and that's $180 a year. And for people who want to know more about Rotary, you can go to rotary.org and get more information. When you look at Rotary as far as our vision statement, it's together we see the world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in the community, and in ourselves. You're gonna hear that repeated and said a lot of times for the next year or so. Rotary core values, service is in the center of this, diversity, integrity, fellowship, and leadership. Now, these 5 things have not changed since 1904. It's interesting. I talked to the historian at Rotary International, and he said there's not in any particular order. So we sometimes think service being the key component, but diversity, integrity, leadership, and fellowship all have equal standing there. When you look at the 6 areas of focus, this is where Rotary spends most of their money and time. It's basic education, child health, and conflict resolution, disease prevention, water and sanitation, and economic development. So one of the things I like to do because of the nature of where we are today is just an update on the virus. This is from the CDC. This is a website that you can easily go to. I sort of recommend it when you want to know exactly what's going on. It tells you about symptoms, how to prepare, everything from travel, and it gives you an update to where the virus seems to be really growing. So this is just one of the methods we want to use to make sure that you're up to date with what's going on with the virus. Now, One of the things that I would like to institute is, which is very important for all new clubs, is to have a membership moment. And this is where we talk something about membership. Either did you invite someone to this meeting, or did you pass this recording on to someone, or what did you do to help grow the club? And this is a video from the Veterans Club, which started in October. They're going to give you some information about how they started and the things that what they've accomplished. And it just takes a few seconds. Let me see if I can get it going here. Oh, who's that handsome guy there?
Me and Tom Gump.
No, I knew you were going. I knew
My name is
someone was going to say that.
And I'm the membership chair, and this is Gary White. He is the president of,
Hello, everybody.
of the Rotary Club of Minnesota Veterans. We chartered in October, about 4 months ago, with 24 members, and we are now sitting right around 50. So Gary is going to go over just a little bit on how we did that.
Yeah, just to let you all know, we grew the club by making sure people were engaged and people were at events. And the way to do that is the board took a lot of the leadership responsibilities. And what we did, the board plans, and then after the board plans, what we do is we execute a plan, and then we also give that to the members. So it makes it a lot easier for the members. We do have meetings every other week. And some of those meetings, what we do is we do service projects instead of having meetings. And I think when you engage people, that's important, and also get people motivated to come more to the meetings and actually be engaged more with the Rotary.
Yeah, and then for our plan for the rest of this year to grow the club, of course, we want to make sure that we are keeping people engaged in the service products that we're doing. And I think we're trying to plan, we're doing a really big one right now with Haven for Heroes, but I think we're trying to plan some smaller ones like Toys for Tots, and we did some Christmas card stuff to send overseas as well, but little things like that, at least quarterly. One of the big things for us as well is just word of mouth. So for me, I'm still currently serving in the military, and it's really easy for me to bring it up just to my soldiers, but I also work in an industry that I'm able to bring that up to my clients as well to get people engaged. And I think Gary is kind of the same way. So that's what we've really been doing. We also plan some social events, so to invite other Rotarians, anybody that wants to check out the club, friends, family, have some pizza and just socialize together, fundraisers, and then just the service project. I think one of the big things too, getting vets into the club is just because we all joined the military to do something that was bigger than ourselves, and we get to still do that with the Rotary Club.
That's great. Yep, that's exactly what it is. And you know what? Anybody can join our club, and we have a lot in here, so come on over.
Okay, thank you for that. By the way, my wife is a member of that club. Just some announcements and updates. I want to keep you attuned to the Rotary Business Network. As you know, their first meeting was canceled. That's the website there, rotarybn.com. So we will keep you abreast when that starts up again. Like I said, one of the key components that we are involved in is networking. So we want to make sure you are aware of that. The Rotary story revolves around three things. The Rotary successor story revolves around three things. One is the foundation, and that's the, I like to call it, it's the fuel that makes Rotary go. It provides us with the money to do projects. Membership is probably the key component. If you look at that tricycle, I like to think that big wheel is membership, because we are a membership organization. We do not function unless we have people involved doing things. And of course, our public image. It's important that we have a consistent, stable public image that speaks to who we are and what we do. I talked recently about, oops, let me go back here. I'm going the wrong way here. Oh, really going the wrong way. Let's see if I can do this the other way, the old-fashioned way. Ah, there we go. Is the website. Currently, we have Club Runner, which is, I think it's paid through June or July. And because we're now chartered and we don't have an alternative, we will be using Club Runner. And this is the first page. It should be up and running by the end of this week. And email will go out with the link in the website. Basically, this is just a screenshot of the first page. That movie there is going to be replaced with some type of introduction that talks about who we are and what we do. So if you know anyone with, you know, great looks and want to be a talking head, let me know, and I will we will okay the script and let them start doing that part. The other part of the website would be a calendar that will list all the events, especially service events, so our members can know that where we can be involved in service activities. The big one would be the meeting area. Once you go to this site, you will be adding the date that we suggest, and we'll talk about that later. You just click on a link and you're there. So you have to come to the website to go to the meetings. At the website too, you also have a list of the recordings that we've done too. So this would be sort of like the central hub for our meetings and websites. And we will not be sending out any links in the future once the website is up and going. The 4 areas there: service, there'll be detailed information about that. And it's going to be broken up in 2 parts. One is a public part of the website where anyone can come to the website and see what we do. And then there will be a login section, which will, you can only access once you log in. And that would be directory, I've got the other ones, but it's 5 different things that we will have that you can only access through the login area. Also, fellowship and leadership will also be involved in that too. So this is just a mock-up of the what the web page is going to look like. As far as engagement and activities, we talked about a little bit about the autism spectrum project. We're still working on that. We're trying to get a tape or a tour of the MICC. Is a college for kids with adults with autism. Last week we had a person on a foundation on to talk about Peru, and they were actually in Peru, and I believe they joined our meeting the next week. The human trafficking area, we're working on someone to come to speak with us about that. Today we have Dr. House is going to talk to us a little bit about the Honduras hospital and water project. I think it's about a 5-minute video. And then we want to talk a little bit about possible local projects too. That was the Peru project. It was about kids with disabilities being serviced in Peru and what we can do to help. This is going to be an international project. It's coming up in April with the grants committee, and we'll keep you informed about what we can do and where they are with that. I think Jill is very active in with that project. And this is.
So a couple of years ago, Lloyd approached me about Rotary, or I may have approached him wondering how Rotary could assist the International Health Services of Minnesota. And we talked about things that what we might feel passionate about. And my experiences in Honduras have been very emotionally compelling. It's a very challenging experience. I'm always happy to get back home. It's a very underserved country. It's very poverty stricken. And I think that there's a large Rotary presence and you can run into small villages, and you'll see water purification plants, and you will see water pumps. In this particular city, just an hour north, there's a Minneapolis club that's doing nearly $1 million water project. So the presence there, I think that we can have a significant impact for these people. And sometimes I'm down there and I'm not sure what I'm doing, what am I accomplishing? But when I ask an individual, you know, what do you think of us coming? Is this really something sustainable? And sometimes I get pretty profound answers in the manner of, well, if you didn't come, nobody would come. So I hope that you may feel that spark of interest or a compelling reason to get involved. There are neighbors, and I think we're only as strong as our weakest community. So I would be glad to take questions. Lloyd will have my personal contact information. If there's a way I can reach out to the clubs individually, I'd be glad to do that. And I hope.
We're from the Gracias Lempira Rotary Club. I am Miguel. I'm the past president from the club. This is Pedro. He's the actual president now. And this is our couple of friends from Rotary. We're having lunch today. We are a club that has 2 years of being here in Gracias, and we're trying to help our local hospital, helping them with some needs that they have, and we're asking your help with this global grant that we're trying to get some medical equipment for the hospital. and we are happy to work with you and to get this help from you. Goodbye, and hopefully we can see us again.
Okay. I have to apologize because I didn't give that a proper introduction. The project in Honduras is a ongoing project that started this year with Dr. House. He's a physician in Glenwood, Minnesota. He had been going to Honduras for several years, and I met him at a Rotary function where he showed a videotape of his exploits in Honduras. He goes down there. In the past, it's every other year for I believe 10 days, and he has to take a vacation when he comes back because the work and the stuff he does there is just phenomenal. So we talked about putting together a grant for defibrillators and ventilators for the hospital. That picture of the hospital, that video of the hospital, just I really apologize. I didn't get a chance to talk about that when it started. Is that you saw the OB section, and you also saw the emergency room section, and in some areas, and this is one of the cleanest hospitals in the area. They have not enough beds, not enough defibrillators. You know, even here in Glenwood, there's usually a defibrillator in every room. They only have 2 ventilators in the whole hospital, and he says it's usually like not a fight, but it's people always try to vie for who has the ventilator, because if you don't have the ventilator, you have to hand pump. You have to breathe for the person by pumping with your hands if they have to take someone to another hospital, or if someone comes in an emergency, they won't be able to service those people. One of the things that he mentioned too is that the Rotary Club here in Minneapolis is involved in a water project, and Dr. House just came back from Honduras, and they met, and they are working on possibly making sure that Gracias, that community, has clean water, because that's one of the major components for people coming into the hospital for bad health, is because of unsanitary conditions. So we'll be getting more information about that particular project, and we just want to keep you informed of some of the things that we're working on. So if you have any questions concerning that, please, you can ask me now, or we can talk about it later. But one of the other things I want to talk about too is we are a charter club now. So we have some change in responsibilities. One is that I'm going to try and stay around until at least the beginning of the new Rotary year. One of the reasons for that is to make sure that everyone is, I see, oh, by the way, when you log on, make sure you mute your mic, because one of the things that happens with Zoom, the person who's talking will be the person on the screen. So when there's sound or someone logs on, the video will switch, and sometimes it can get a little confusing. But I'll be on as an advisor at least until June or July, and hopefully to make sure we train the incoming officers, and make sure we have officers in the key positions, and also to make sure that we are increasing our membership. So when we saw that section on the membership moment, 2 key components popped up, and those are the things that we need to think about. One is engagement, and the other one was actually inviting people to our meetings. And that's going to be important if we plan to grow our club here. So I know I've been doing a lot of the talking. Do we have any questions or any comments about some things? So you will probably have to unmute your site first before you start talking.
I have a question, Lloyd.
Okay, sure, shoot.
On the Honduras project, I'm not clear as to what our participation is in that project. I can see there's clearly needs, but it was kind of, it sounded like a grant, and then it sounded like they had needs for equipment, and I just don't know what specific, how specifically you see us as being involved in that.
He's just started. It's a grant that he's writing, and he's going around talking to clubs about being a part of that grant. That can, somebody might have to quote check me on this. I'm not sure exactly what's the minimum amount you need to be a part of it. I'm not sure it's $500 or $250, but it gives us an opportunity to participate in the grant, and also to, if we want to.
Okay, so at this point, it would be a contribution, right?
Yeah, it would be a
Is
contribution.
that what they're looking for? Okay, great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it would be a contribution. I know that in all the grants that we're talking about, we're presenting, there's also travel opportunities, but
That's good. That's enough. Thanks.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions? One of the things that has been brought to my attention too is that when we talk about engagements, what can we do on a local project? One of the things that we sort of have a skill set in is doing virtual meetings. And our district is in the midst of doing just that, trying to put on virtual meetings through Zoom. It's been suggested that we talk to the head of the AGs and to the district governor to see, is it possible that we could actually put on some meetings for them and walk them through what goes on in a virtual meeting and how to structure a virtual meeting. So that is something that's being under consideration. It might be one of our first projects that we do on a local level. And it also gives us an opportunity to be introduced to the district. Our growth has been mostly by word of mouth. It has not been about making major presentations at different clubs and things. So, and I'm very proud of that, but I think too, now is an opportunity for the district to know who we are. So, do we have any other questions or comments? We have several things we need to do, including working on the website, doing a bulletin, doing PR work, and it appears to be a lot, but I think if we take it one at a time, one step at a time, we can easily accomplish these things and be a very successful club.
I have one more question.
Yeah, sure.
Could you please send me a copy of the well, it was a poster, I guess, that you put at the very beginning about the Rotary Passport Club, because I'd like to put it on the Facebook page.
Oh, great. Okay. Yeah, it's a PowerPoint. I can.
Yeah, just send it to me.
I'll send that to you.
Thanks.
And I won't charge you either.
Oh, isn't that nice? Thanks.
Okay. Any other questions? Great. Listen, I want to thank everyone for being a part of this meeting, and I will try to get the recording out as soon as possible, as soon as it gets here. And if you have any other comments or questions, please don't hesitate to email or call me. So if we have no more questions, I know someone want to ask about, that's Arkansas. That's where I am right now. Don't believe that. Have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.